Hello everyone, Martin here, back with round 5 of this Legacy League, which has been a bit weird. Had first a win, then a loss, then a win, and I think I played quite loosely in those three first matches. Then I just won round 4 here against a Wizard of the Coast employee who conceded very, very prematurely. So sitting here at 3-1, and with the chance to either make it a lackluster 3-2 or a pretty decent 4-1. So let's see here. I've won the dice roll. I think I might have won the dice roll in each round, which is quite absurd. Let's choose to be on the play. Oh, I'm not sure about this hand, right? This hand casts one card out of the 5 non-land cards in our hand, so we are sort of at the mercy of drawing another land. And we would need to do that in, like, on one of our first 2 draw steps. Either that or, like, draw more 1 or 2 drop cards. And at, like, with a land off the top, how good is this hand? It's hard to say, really. But I think we're gonna keep. I like trying to keep this. Opponent keeps 7, so let's go playing some other runes. If we're up against combo, then the Prelate is potentially a nice play. If we can get to turn 3, if we're up against fair decks, then having the Mom survive is nice. Island Preordain makes me think it is one of 3 decks. This is going to be either Show and Tell, Storm, or the new Miracles deck. Well, that was not what we wanted to see. I think in case it might be Miracles, let's not attack with Mother of Runes. If we were sure this was Storm, we should just be getting in. The same goes for Show and Tell. Second island, so it's probably not Storm. They shuffle. Candelabra, okay. Neato. So this is High Tide. Yeah, alright. So we have to hope they don't have Force of Will, and then we're gonna really, really hope to draw a 3-drop, and we will go Sanctum Prelate 1, and we can still lose that way to a Cunning Wish for Wipe Away, because that has Split Second. Come on, land. Land. No! Jeez. Well, Candelabra. So, do we lose to that? On turn 3, I think it's very uncommon for High Tide decks to win on turn 3, but I guess it's possible. Pieces of the puzzle. They reveal 5 cards, and they get to put 2 instant or sorcery cards. Okay, that's what they reveal. Time Spiral, Merchant Scroll, High Tide, Intuition, and an Island. So what do they choose? They put Intuition, Time Spiral, and Island, so they keep Merchant Scroll and High Tide. So I'm pretty sure it is Island, oh sorry, it's draw land now or bust. Draw land, okay. And now it is, they cannot have Force of Will. Come on, don't have Force. Don't be like that. No! Okay, they had Force of Will. And they pitch Flusterstorm. Well, yeah, let's just get in there. So they pitched a counterspell to their force, so that means they didn't even have to pitch like a card that is useful on their combo turn. So let's just F6 here. You get to see High Tide winning, most likely anyways. So they Merchant Scroll for another High Tide, so they have 2 High Tides. Now they get to make 16 mana off of there. No, 12 mana, right? Each tap for 3. Yeah, so 12 mana, cast Time Spiral, I guess. Or maybe Meditate. Turnabout, sure. So they get to untap all their lands. And Merchant Scroll for another High Tide, okay. Their last card is Time Spiral? Yeah, alright. So, I mean, there is a hypothetical chance that they whiff here, that they just draw 7 counterspells and lands. But it's extremely unlikely. And even in that event, like, we drew shit. Sorry. But, I guess we drew the Revoker to name Candelabra. So yeah, having someone do this to you in paper is a bit more excruciating because of all from shuffling after tutors and time spirals and stuff. At least here things go quickly. They shuffle on the ponder. So now their islands tap for 5 mana, I think, or 4 maybe. Yeah, 4. So eventually they will kill us with. Okay, so I found a Cunning Wish. So Storm is what? What is Storm? Storm is 17. So they get Brain Freeze. We draw 18, 36, 54 cards. And we only have 48 in our library. Or we mill all those, and then we have to draw on our next turn. Let's just save them the clicking and concede. Alright. Well, I think we have a decent shot against this deck, under normal knowing what it is now. So we definitely want Mindbreak Trap. We want the second Prelate. We want 2 Aethersworn Canonists. Probably don't want stuff like Disenchant. Let's see here. I don't think there is any chance to run any creatures. That would have to be something like, maybe JVP. Jace Rin's Prodigy, but I would not bet on it. And I think most of our other stuff here makes sense. What we don't want is a hand that does something like that's heavy on beaters like Stoneforge and Sarah Avenger, Mirran Crusader. We want, of course, the anti-combo cards. Is there any world where we would want something like a Council's Judgment to remove some weird permanent that we aren't thinking of they might have? Nah, I don't think so. So normally, High Tide is a turn 4 combo deck, which shouldn't stack up too well against us, but we'll see. I don't think we can keep this. Wasteland is completely dead against them, and so is Mirran Crusader and to an extent Recruiter of the Guard. If they just we need more than one threat because they have Force of Will. Well, we didn't get more than one threat, but I don't feel like going any lower, so they mulligan to 6. Let's bottom this Plains. They keep their 6. Also, Rishadan Port is a card against them, whereas Wasteland wasn't, so this feels a bit stronger. Ponder. So let's just hope they don't have the Force of Will. And the thing is, Thalia isn't even that great against them if they can get up to enough High Tides. Come on, let's hope they don't have Force, at least. But if they do, I guess, that means they have mulliganed some more, but it's Flusterstorm. Wow, okay. Surprised they kept that in against us, to be honest. Ugh, that was bad. Alright, so I think we're going to... Jeez, I don't even know. guess we can cast a Flicker Wisp here. And we can cast a second Flicker Wisp next turn and flicker one of their lands. It seems really weak, but I'm not sure what else we're doing here. We could crack the Canopy, but I'm not really seeing a 1-drop we get that matters. We could keep the Canopy to crack in case they try to go off and hope that the top of our library is Mindbreak Trap, but that I don't think next turn is when it's going to happen. So I'd rather keep something like that for next turn. Wow, that was huge. They didn't have a third land. We might just have a chance here. So I'm going to flicker here, and I think I'm going to flicker my Flicker Wisp like I said, since they didn't have the third land. And then next turn I can port them twice. Yeah. So we target our Flicker Wisp. It gets removed. It comes back at end of turn. And we target their island. And then that is sort of exiled for all of their next turn. Okay, so they cycle with rebuild. Brainstorm. Maybe we shouldn't have played the second port, just not to give them a heads up that they're getting ported twice. So they found a third land. Probe doesn't change the clock currently. Playing at the Serra Avenger would mean they were dead. They're dead next turn. It means we can only port them once, but they would have to win. Then let's say best scenario they place another island next turn, so they have 4. The one gets ported. They would then, with 5 cards and 3 islands, have to win. Do I like that more than giving them an additional turn? I think I like just putting them on dead next turn. They probably have something to do with this mana on their upkeep, maybe Brainstorm or... Okay, so they... Yeah. Hopefully they don't have enough to win here with just these 2 islands. And it's islands... That's whenever a player taps an island, so I guess that means islands that come into play after High Tide. That's pretty sick. They have a second High Tide. Wow, okay, I'm just getting owned here. Triple High Tide. Yeah, okay, so that's quite the feat. Cunning Wish. So the last cards, what are they getting? Blues and Zenith. They're going to draw a bunch of cards. How many cards? Wow. Well, I feel like a bit like an idiot. But hey, I mean, if they time spiral us, there's a chance we draw into our Mindbreak Trap. So they draw 6 cards, have 6 mana floating. They have the time spiral. Womp womp. But they have no... Oh yeah, never mind. They get to untap all of their lands. Wow, they concede. They whiffed. Jeez, that was lucky. They had 7 fresh cards, but that's sometimes what happens, right? But they resolved 3 high tides, so each of these were tapping for 4 mana, so they had 16 mana. So they must have gone like all counter spells and lands, I guess. Jeez. Okay, well, I feel like I dodged a bullet big time there. Nothing really makes me want to change my sideboard options here, though. Don't think they interact with their graveyard. I've seen builds that had Snapcaster Mage, but I think that's more sort of, maybe that's more Springtide, like the deck that wants like a version of High Tide, or maybe that's called Solitaire. I actually get the names mixed up, but the version that wants to win at instant speed with like reset, like a card from Legends. Yeah, no, I think we just go, right? Hope for the best. Wow, I feel scared right now. Yeah, I think we keep this. Hope they don't force a Will the Vile. Hope that we can get to our turn 3 and Violent Thalia. They mulligan to 6. Like, whenever this deck like a deck like High Tide mulligans, it's like, well, I guess that's always good when your opponent mulligans, but I think it's even more detrimental for a deck like High Tide because it, like, kind of like with Storm, it needs to feed off of like having a sort of like amassing an amount of cards, having enough high tides and relevant things to do with them, and islands in play. Alright, so I don't think we are going to play Thalia into a Force of Will again, because yeah, well, I mean, again, like they would have to win with 3 islands. I'm repeating the exact same thing I told myself before when I just almost then died. We could go Thalia here. If they have to force, they'll be down to 3 cards and 2 islands in play, and then we can go Sanctum Prelate 1. But we don't have other runes to protect the Prelate, so it's just a question of time before they can Cunning Wish for an answer. Yeah, I think I'm just going to play... I'm just going to play the Stoneforge, yeah. I think that's still better than Revoker into, like, nothing. Let's get Sword of Fire and Ice and pass the turn. Hope we don't die, and if we don't die, I think we're looking pretty good. Okay, so they have Rebuild. Yeah, they're cycling it. We saw that before. That's a little bit scary with Aether Vial. Come on, don't play High Tide. Okay, sweet. So pausing on our upkeep. Do you have like wipe away for something or? Okay, Flicker Wisp is not the worst. I think we just Violin Thalia here. And then pass the turn. Okay, they just concede. Right, okay. Well, weird life, weird Legacy League. I almost feel a bit weird about like making these videos, to be honest. I don't think you really got that much of an impression, especially in the last 2 rounds, but I hope you still enjoyed it, and I definitely like this deck a lot. It is very much a deck that I feel you need, like, to really, like, quote unquote study, to really grind and focus on it to earn, like, quite a lot, actually, because I think with something like Storm that I've played a lot, I think you have to put in a lot of hours initially, And at that, like after a certain amount of time where you've just familiarized yourself with lines of play, like counting, it's a lot about just familiarizing yourself with, okay, well, I mean, being quick at adding rituals, different rituals, with or without a Thalia in play, with or without Threshold, all this stuff. At some point, that becomes sort of second nature to you, and at that point, I think it's a question of having experience with matchups, gut feeling, just based on experience, and you can then maybe grind the last. I'm just spouting out numbers here. It's not accurate or anything. Just to give you an example, like an idea of where I stand. Like I think once you've played Storm regularly for a few months or maybe half a year or something, I think after that it's a question about maybe gaining like the last 20%, last 10 or 20%. But I think with Death and Taxes, if you play Death and Taxes for a few months or even like 6 months, I think you're still like maybe at 50%. That means that you need to really dedicate yourself and really grind to get beyond 50%, if that makes sense. And I'm not there at all. Like, I have played this deck and like a decent amount, but it's a long time ago, and I never got to the point where I really mastered it at all. And so I think that's something to keep in mind. Something I found when I was playing it a lot in paper and stuff was that even when I was really feeling like I had given it a fair go and was doing like playing it regularly, and I took it to a few bigger events and stuff, it never felt easy, you know? It never felt like you never really fall into a victory. I mean, of course, there are exceptions to every rule, and sometimes your opponent like mulligans to Oblivion, or you just win the die roll, go like Cavern into Mom, into Thalia, into Wasteland, into Port, and your opponent just never gets a leg to stand on. But for the majority of the time, I would almost never go XO in any tournament, and I would rarely win 2-0. It's just something I picked up on. Like I thought, I almost always have to like really labor for this, for each win. And yeah, I think that's just something to be aware of. It's something to be aware of when you look at how many people do well with this deck. Yeah, there was like maybe a few months ago, or maybe like it's longer than that. It's actually like a really long time ago. But when Recruiter of the Guard and Sanctum Prelate were released, like it seemed like everyone started playing Death and Taxes. It was just like it became like, oh, this deck has gotten these awesome cards. They're just printing more and more stuff for Death and Taxes, and it's like it's clearly tier 1 now. And I think a lot of people played it, and for a while, a lot of people brought it to tournaments, and it just never really powered through. You know, I don't think it had the penetration in top 8s and stuff. And slowly, people started to be like, oh, you know, I don't think it's that well positioned. You know, Miracles is gone, blah blah blah, and just I don't think Miracles disappearing has much of a bearing on whether or not Death and Taxes is strongly positioned. But I just think like anyone who thinks that this is a deck to just pick up and be like Johnny Go Lucky, and you know, I think you'll probably end up like running your head into a wall. So yeah. Anyway, with that said, I really hope you enjoyed these videos. I'll be back soon with some more legacy content, and I'll hopefully see you for that. Bye bye.